So we're going to take another look into 2025 today. We're going to be looking at Belarus this time. What a lovely country Belarus is. So we look in the Wikipedia page, and I thought, wow, we've got an opinion poll section. This is very unusual for an election that's not a major sort of power. If we look through the list, so this is the one that many of you will know, this lady right here, which I've had to go into Google Translate to say her name because I can't risk saying it as badly as I would. So
Святлана Цеханауская.
there you go. She has been, from what I've read, she's been convicted 15 years. She's in exile. She's living in Lithuania at the moment. But if she were to return, she would be jailed for 15 years. She's still technically running, but I think a lot of her supporters disappeared. So, I mean, it's unbelievable. She's the guy that's husband. She's the woman, rather, that's husband was put in jail. Then she ran in his place. Very famous uh, occurrence in 2020, and she claims that she got about 60-70% of the vote, which is, that's quite steep. And obviously, there were the protests that year, but she was since convicted and she fled to Lithuania, and she's kind of not been able to do anything since. But I thought we'd take a look at these polls. So these are from 2021. So obviously not recent, but we can still look into them because Victor Barbarica, there we go, wins in pretty much all of these. You've got this Chatham House one that has him down, and this Chatham House one that has him down. But you look at these other ones, and he's up, and you think, okay, maybe there is an election on our hands. First of all, you can see the oldest ones here. He's got an 18-point margin down here, and then it wanes and wanes. Ignore this Ecum one. I looked on the website. It's a Belarusian website, so it's not valid. We'll be ignoring that one. As you can see, it includes a lot of candidates that are not involved in many of the other polls, so we'll ignore that. But you look at Chatham House, it's going down, and then Lukashenko's back up in this poll from someone who's not Belarusian. So I thought, why is this? Our guy over here, Barbarica, disappeared. I've never seen this before on a Wikipedia page. Disappeared. He was jailed in 2020 after he announced he intended to run. And since then, they said that the Belarusian officials said that he was doing fine in jail, which is never a good sign. And a lot of people believe he's dead. His wife is dead. Uh, so, unfortunately, this guy is another victim of the Belarusian electoral system, which is a shame. But I thought let's address this election anyway. It's going to be a Lukashenko win because it always is. They've not invited uh, observers to the election. They announced they will not invite observers to the election, international observers. So we know which way that's going to go. And I thought, okay, let's look at what the composition is right now of the government. The Russia Belarus Union state that's been talked about before, and also looking at who would replace Alexander Lukashenko if he were to pass away. So we'll start here. Lukashenko talking in 2023. This is the latest update on a Russian Belarusian union, and he says there will be nuclear weapons for everyone that joins. Now, the original proposal is Russia, Belarus, and South Ossetia, which is in Georgia, and that's just a whole nother chaos. That Georgia's got elections coming up actually, so we could look into that another day. But yeah, nuclear weapons for everyone, says Lukashenko. What a lovely endorsement of Russia. His son, is Nikolai Lukashenko, which is one of his three sons, has gone to really strange by the way. His so he's married to this lady who he hasn't been seen with for 30 years, and he's had like two kids since then, one or two kids. So really strange, but anyway, yeah. So Union State, uh, bombs for everyone. His son went to Moscow University. I don't know if he completed his course, but he went there and he completed another course in Belarus, and now he's studying in China. That's this guy, Kolya or Nikolai. As you can see, he's currently studying in China, and he's not the oldest son, but he seems to be the one that's being groomed to be the next heir. He speaks Russian, English, and he's learning Chinese and Spanish, and he's been taking piano lessons. So he's kind of this model guy. Uh, he's gone on a lot of state visits. It says here he's gone to Venezuela. He's gone to meet Medvedev, the tennis player. Uh, nope, not the tennis player. That's really bad. Um, Pope Benedict and Barack Obama. Um, so he's kind of been all over the place. He's been establishing himself, and it seems that he'll be the next guy. The problem is he's 19, so it's maybe a bit early. You're kind of in this awkward period where he's still studying and developing into a leader, and he's really not ready yet. So if Alexander Lukashenko were to die, which apparently in recent visits he's been looking ill, but it seems like he's always looking ill. So, but if he were to die, then this seems to be the guy who'd replace him, but maybe you would get some crazy power struggle because he's just maybe not so ready yet. But we look at this. Also, he fired one of his sons, Victor. Here, he sacked him from the aide to the president for national security. So, and now he's head of the Olympic Committee. So very topical for that guy. But let's look at the parliament. So we've got the Belarus party, which is associated with Lukashenko. We've got the RPTS party, which is associated with Lukashenko, not directly, but they support him, pro Lukashenko. The CBP, Communist Party, also support Lukashenko. And the LDPB, which doesn't support Lukashenko, in theory, and then you actually look into it and they do. De facto, it's like a fake party, essentially. And this guy was one of the candidates to run for president, which, again, they're like creating a fantasy world here. And then you got loads of independents, which are all pro Lukashenko as well. So, because everyone's been exiled, there's really no. The elections are frauded anyway, but there's really no point in these elections. They're all voting for the same thing. They're all voting for the same person. It's just a complete sham, and there really isn't. There really, all he needs to do, Lukashenko, is make sure there's no people trying to get too high in the political system to stop his son taking over and sort of, make any sort of division there. Because his son's currently in China, so that's going to be a bit of a difficult battle to fight, being the leader of Belarus if he's, studying over there. So someone could end up taking over, getting into power, then there's a massive just disaster, then the whole country falls apart. Really, you need him studying a lot closer to home. But, that's the decision he's taken, and that's fine. It just means that there's more of a margin for someone to come in there, like maybe a disloyal Belarus party member that's high up in the party to come in there while his son's away and say, right, I'm taking the place. And then there's nothing they can do about it, and it's just absolute disaster. So, really, really, Belarus is quite interesting. It's definitely, it feels like it's on the verge of something happening. Maybe not so. I mean, Lukashenko always seems like he's going to die. So maybe it's just never going to happen. Maybe we'll be talking 10 years from now, he'll still be the president, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, really interesting. So, final conclusions. I don't think a Belarus Russia state is. If it's going to happen, it was going to happen in 2022. I don't think it's going to happen now. It's been a little bit too long, and Lukashenko likes his power, and I don't think he really wants nuclear weapons, to be honest. And then you've got the issue of his son is probably going to take over, but there's, margin in there for someone to try and take that place while he's studying abroad. And the parliament is an absolute joke, and it's just a complete fake, just a complete sham, which we all know. But it's just interesting to look into and just observe and say, how can this even happen? There's nothing people can do about it. So that's Belarus. That's the update on Belarus. We'll maybe check back in at a closer date, but really, I don't think there's going to be much change. I mean, this guy's disappeared, and all of these people are not really in contention. Someone will probably step up and then get exiled, and then there'll be, it'll be the same as 2020. It'll just be more brutal of a crackdown. This was the result last time, allegedly. I mean, it's just something else. But that's Belarus. Maybe we'll come back to Belarus at some point, but we'll see.